What is up, you guys? Toast Coffee here, and welcome back to another episode of Second Circle. I updated the game since I didn't know there was an update of it. I had only the previous one, which was 0.30, and I updated it into 0.31. The only thing I read was about some changes, minor changes, some typos here and there, and some sprite changes. And the only thing that I already noticed is Pandemonica's clothes. Also, I don't know where's Beelzebub. Supposedly, you should have Beelzebub's date already, but I don't know. So let's head now to Lucifer. Let's get on with it, baby. Taker. I've been looking for you. I also have been looking for you. Really? I've been doing some thinking since our last chat, and I believe you're correct. Naturally, but run the specifics by me again. You're absolutely right about the amount of work I do. I should have let someone else assist me in my jobs. And I've got just the person in mind. Let me guess. Tall, muscular, dashingly handsome. Me. I'm talking about me, Lucifer. So, if you just cut to the chase and just say, you're the one, Taker. You're the one who's my assistant. And with an insufferably high opinion of himself, apparently he grabbed some lunch. We're going on a little business trip. Or two. Where do you think? We're going back to hell. I'm going to try and take things a little easier and work more from the house, rather than basing all my operations from hell. What part do I play in this adventure? Pack mule. The skeletons are on strike again, and I need someone to help me carry all the paperwork back to the mortal world. Do you have any idea how many cases I have to review every day? We have thousands of souls joining our kingdom by the hour. That does sound overwhelming. I'd be more happy to accompany you and help out however I can. However, what is your concern with everything that's been going on? I'm not sure how comfortable I have been leaving the house for long periods of time. Don't worry, we won't be gone long. But if it will make you feel better, you could deputize one of the more responsible demons to act in your absence. That's an excellent idea, but who do you trust to keep your peace while you're gone? Only two other demons really fit that role. But which one to choose? Leave Justice, leave Pandemonica. Oh my god, what are we gonna do with this? I'm pretty sure Justice can handle all the demons. Let's go with Justice. Let's go with Justice. Yeah? Justice! You need something? Lucifer and I are going back to hell for a little while. Would you mind making sure the three dingbats don't burn the local preschool down while we're gone? Sure thing. Mind if we order out tonight? Cerebrus would probably stick around and behave if she knows we're getting pizza. That shouldn't be a problem. Just make sure to leave us enough to eat when we get back. Well, I'm relatively certain the house isn't going to go up in flames for at least another 24 hours. Plenty of time for us to make our little business trip, I should think. Turning on the spot, Lucifer waves her hand, opening up a red-tinged portal in the center of the living room. Come along then, Taker. We haven't all day. We follow her into the swirling energy of the portal. The feeling of traveling between realities varies greatly depending on who's providing the means of transportation. Lucifer's method of traveling amounts to the dimensional equivalent of limousine, smooth, classy, and about as comfortable as having all your atoms reconfigured can actually be. Shadowy shapes blur past the two of you, eventually forming themselves into black and crimson trappings of hell. You recognize the space as Lucifer's office, her polished black desk overflowing with papers and work orders. You start to take a step forward, but are stopped by a well-manicured, unyielding hand on your shoulder. Don't move. Hold still for a second. I forgot to give you something. She extends her hand. A small tentacle suspended from silver chain lays flat against her palm. This should protect you from the miasma of hell. After all, what good is an assistant who can only take a dozen steps before bursting into flames? Lucifer in close and clasps the chain behind your neck. There, you're all safe now. But do me a favor and try not to destroy any skeletons that you happen to run into, okay? I'll try. The two of you walk over the desk. Lucifer visibly winches as a stack of papers falls over, adding its contents to the already sizable mess that covers the ground. I can see we've got our work cut out for us. Indeed, fortunately. Lucifer twirls a finger in the air and two slick, shining briefcases materialize out of thin air. It feels good to have my full powers back at my disposal. The mortal world hinders my abilities to some degrees. Trying to cast a spell up there is like trying to paint a picture with weights strapped to my hands. He hands you one of the briefcases, snapping it open. I suspect that there's no way that's its modest interior can contain the sheer quantity of paper strewn across the room. Do you want these separated in any particular fashion, or I wouldn't worry about it. I'm used to separating the important documents for the routine ones anyway. The cleric demons have adopted print them all and let Lucifer sort them out as a principal motto with regards to bureaucracy. The two of you begin stuffing papers into the suitcases. Despite their modest size, they never seem to quite fill up, no matter how many documents are placed inside them. While the novelty of the suitcases distracts you momentarily, you soon become bored with this task at hand. Say, Lucifer. Yes? Man, this is gonna be a blast. So, in my decision, I guess we should deal with the inside problem first rather than the outside problem. I mean, we could possibly take care of this Cerebrus problem next time, right? I've never heard of a Demon Sisters before. How did Molina and Zedrada come to be? Their origins are far from auspicious. As far as I'm aware, Zedrada made quite the name for herself during Hell's more tumultuous years, but never enough to warrant serious attention or concern from the higher-ranking demons. And Molina? Next to nothing up until the old lords of Hell were overthrown. Not a single demon I've spoken to can attest to her existence. Once the new order was imposed, reports of a sour demon with an unhealthy lust for addictive mortal vices began circulating among the clerical demons. Interesting. How do most demons come to be anyways? I believe the term best suited to describing the phenomenon to you would be gravity. Down here in Hell, over thousands of years, emotions and impulses packed together, occurring more and more until finally birthing a brand new demon, like calls to like. So most demons have demonstrable inclinations towards their founding feelings: anger, laziness, deceit, ambition, all the foundational clay from which a demon can be born. And then are just demons sharply addressed and consumed by their hunger? Fortunately, no. Many of us had a guiding hand to help us along the way. In the depths of Hell, there is an immensely powerful demon who takes it upon herself to foster and shape the infant demon she comes across. Few demons make it very far without her helping hand. Her name is Lilith, but to the denizens of Hell, she is known as the Mother Demon. She sounds fascinating. I wonder where she came from. The two of you spend the next hour or so engaged in speculation about the civil state of Hell and how it compares to that of Earth. Eventually, if you wouldn't mind finishing up with the packing, I have an old friend to catch up before we leave. You don't mind doing the last little bit, do you? Of course not, as you were then. I won't be away for long. Lucifer departs the room, leaving you to finish packing the papers into the briefcases. For long, you stuff the last papers into the briefcase, forcing the lids shut with modern effort. 5 minutes later, and still no sign of Hell's president. Unperturbed by her absence, you start peering down the various corridors, wondering what could be down them. As long as I don't go kicking any skeletons, surely she won't mind if I look around a little. Most of the rooms you travel through are scenes of hectic activity. You are unchallenged as you stride through the office, and while one or two lesser demons try to catch your eye, the sight of the amulet around your neck proves sufficient to dissuade any unwanted attention. Several rooms later, you come across a peculiar facet of architecture in an abandoned, rundown part of the castle. Two massive obsidian doors stand. Bowed outward from within, it appears as though these doors have been damaged trying to contain some immense force. The doors are ajar, and you very much doubt they could even fully close, given their degree of disfigurement. Might as well have a look inside. Stepping through the twisted doors, you find yourself in an enormous devastated hall. Sulphurous air flows freely in and out of jagged holes torn through the walls. Looking around, you realize the place must once have been an audience chamber, a lavish room where the denizens of hell must have come to pay a tribute to their lords. Some massive explosion must have once, long ago, vaporized the room and its inhabitants. The mighty blast had bent the stone walls outward as easily as if they had been made of cloth, and tattered holes give passing views of the nightmare vista of hell. At the far end of the shattered hall, 4 black monoliths stand, massive thrones of ebonite untouched by the desolations that surround them. Standing before the throne, head slumped, stands Lucifer, Queen of Hell. You begin to pick your way over the rubble, moving towards her. Lucifer, why are you all the way here? I thought you were catching up with a friend. The Queen of Hell slowly turns, and you see something in her eyes that stops you dead in your tracks. Tears. She makes a muted gesture to a small polished stone slated propped on the ground before her. It's been a long time since I last came to visit her. She gestures to the polished tablet. This stone marks the spot where my greatest ally paid the price for my naivete. She gave up her name and her identity to assist me in my ascent to the throne of hell. We were sick of seeing the former lords squander their power and influence on self-indulgence. We wanted to be better, to make things different, to make things right in hell. We mortals have a certain saying regarding paving roads with good intentions. With the strength of the high Persecutor Justice, we challenge the ruling demons, primal incarnations, sloth, greed, gluttony, and wrath. Man, they seriously are going with the 7 deadly sins. But then again, these are only 4, so we're missing 3. After a terrible battle, we toppled them from their thrones onto the floor where the rest of us walked. Standing there above them, we truly believe we'd won a decisive victory. Flush with our idealism, we turned our back on those we conquered. We showed them mercy. Her voice breaks, and tears begin to flow down her cheeks in earnest. Our mercy was repaid in blood and betrayal. As her last vicious action, the incarnation of wrath struck my friend through the heart, sacrificing her own power to take something precious from me. We couldn't kill them, so instead we broke them. We rent their demonic forms asunder and scattered them into the mortal world. We took all they had and cast them out. What happened to them after that? I don't know. You're saying that these lords are alive in the mortal world and they're probably striking a plan to regain their thrones from hell. Was it all you thought it would be? Lucifer turns to you, her gaze piercing, despite the tears still beading at the corners of her eyes. Of course it wasn't. There isn't a day that goes by that I'm not reminded of the price I paid for power. It's one of the reasons I come here, to remind myself of the cost of ambition. May I pay my respects to her as well. Of course, as you kneel to pay respects, you notice an epitaph, a small name etched onto the memorial. Wait, this name looks like... But how could that be? Something the matter? It's nothing. Taker must know something of that name. I would like to know the name. There must be a reason Lucifer omitted that demon's name from the tale. Whatever the full story is, you aren't likely to get it here. Not now. And not from Lucifer. Let's return home, then. Once more, Lucifer opens up a portal and you two step through it, back to the mortal world. The house starts to take shape around you. Something seems off. It looks like some kind of party bomb went off in the living area. Board games, pizza boxes, and an empty glass litter in the room. Judging from the bottles lingering the floor, Justice even managed to coax down Melina from her room to join in the festivities. Reclining on the couch and thoroughly entwined with the sleeping bodies of Cerebrus, Justice gives you a wink and puts a finger to her lips. With your gesture at the mayhem surrounding you, and Justice gestures helplessly at the noosing demons surrounding her. You hope that then means she'll take responsibility for cleaning up come morning. You lean over and whisper in Lucifer's ear, I am beat. I think I'll clock out for the night. You hold up the briefcases. Want me to drop these off in your room before I hit the hay? If you would, and thank you. Thank you for coming with me. Well, that certainly is amazing. So it was it has been a while since you visited the Butterfly Conservatory with Judgment. That day remains at the forefront of your thoughts, while you originally intended to use it only as a way to engage with the High Prosecutor on one of her apparent interests. You feel yourself growing similarly intrigued by the fluttering creatures. This curiosity of yours drives you to pursue the literature that was handed out after the tour. According to the pamphlet, it is possible to donate butterfly snacks, tubs of sliced up fruit, to the conservatory as a way of helping out and getting involved. Thinking this the perfect way to satisfy your interest, you make your way to the kitchen. However, on the way you pass by Judgment's shut door. Looking at it reminds you of how the day ended. You lament the fact that you've seen precious little of her since then. Should I try knocking on her door again? I could try. Perhaps it's best to give her some peace. Couldn't hurt to try, right? You hesitate. You decide to at least try one last time to get her attention. As you knock, you strain your ears to listen for signs of movement inside. Judgment? You hear nothing. I was going to do some work in the kitchen, and I was wondering if you'd like to help me out. Judgment? No response. Frowning, you return to the kitchen. Once there, you dig out a knife, cutting board, and every bit of fruit you have stashed away in the pantry. Then, after donning your apron, you set to work slicing everything up into small cubes. As you're working, you hear someone enter the kitchen at your back. Turning, you are surprised to see none other than Judgment standing in the doorway. Oh, hey there, Judgment. The demon stares back at you, wide-eyed and blushing. Hey, Taker, I was just looking for a snack. With a nod, you return your attention to the task at hand. Though you can hear Judgment rummaging around in the pantry behind you, you can feel her gaze burning a hole at your back. Soon enough, Latter stops and Judgment steps up next to you to peer around your shoulder. What are you doing? Making food medleys. What for? Butterfly snacks. Oh, I see. Can I help? Wordlessly, you hand Judgment an apron and a knife before slapping down a cutting board next to you and stepping aside to give her the demoness room's work. Judgment approaches the countertop and removes her gauntlets. Then the two of you set to work chopping up the fruit and dividing it into dozens of plastic containers. The Fallen. Soon, the tapping of your knives against the cutting boards echoes throughout the kitchen. In the midst of the quiet rhythm, you notice a faint smile dancing across Judgment's lips. Smiling in turn, you continue your task. Have you given any more thought to our predicament? Predicament? What are you referring to, mortal? The butterflies. Should we fortify our home against the coming invasion? Ah, perhaps. Or perhaps we should explore other venues, such as diplomacy. Diplomacy? Yes, if we can placate the beast with sustenance, you can avoid any unnecessary bloodshed. I see. Is that what you would prefer? I would. As would I. Judgment grins and dumps another load of fruit into plastic containers. As you prepare to do the same, you hear something that catches you by surprise. Judgment has begun to hum. The sound of her voice fills the room, and you find yourself looking at the demoness in shock. Judgment? All of a sudden, the scent of smoke stings your nose. What the hell is going on in here? I thought I caught a whiff of something sweet coming from the kitchen, and so I got hungry. But it's just you nerds. Hey Zedrada, don't worry. I'll get started on dinner after I'm done here. Good. What are you doing anyway? Wanted to make a fruit medleys to donate to the Butterfly Conservatory. And Judgment here offered to help. The demon puts her hand over her mouth and makes a gagging noise. Forget I asked. Though, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that you do something like this, Taker. I am, however, a little shocked at you, Judgment. Who would have known the High Prosecutor of Hell would do something so sickeningly nice? Next thing I know, you'll be letting sinners slide for a few decades with an I owe you eternal damnation. Oh wait, that already happened, didn't it? Yeah, with Helltaker. Looks like somebody's losing their edge. Before you can protest, the daughter breaks out in cackle, spewing smoke with each heartily guffaw. The demon swipes a box of crackers out of the counter and departs, leaving you in Judgment alone in the kitchen. Once more, Slice descends upon you. Yet the ringing of Zedrada's laughter still echoes in your ear. Geez, what's her problem? Shaking your head, you look over at Judgment. The demoness is facing the counter, with her hands gripping the sides of her cutting board hard enough to turn her knuckles white. At first, you think that this display of anger, but the slightest glimmer of tears in the corner of her eyes causes you to think otherwise. Judgment? Fool. I'm sorry. May I take my leave now? Yeah, I can take it from here. With that, Judgment removes her apron, seizes her gauntlets, and scurries out to the kitchen. A moment later, you hear her bedroom door slam shut. Left to yourself once again, you let out a long sigh before finishing up your task. Thanks to Judgment's help, there isn't much left to do. It only takes a few minutes to slice up the last few pieces of fruit and divide that up into the meal medleys. Then you close up the containers, wash off your knife, and load up everything into the couple of boxes for transport. As you are carrying these boxes out to the car, Justice approaches you. Hey Chief, when's dinner? Oh hey Justice. I'll get started on it as soon as I get back. It's nice. I'm starving. Where are you headed off to? I'm going to take these fruit medleys to the Butterfly Conservatory. You made all those yourself? No, Judgment helped out quite a bit. Judgment? That's a surprise. Zedrada said something similar. Zedrada saw. That's no good. What do you mean? If I can be frank, that woman talks out her ass so much, it's probably become a second mouth at this point. I'm guessing she said something that made Judgment leave, didn't she? Yeah, actually she did. Is Judgment okay? Wonder about that myself sometimes. Is there something I should know? I'd say. Let me begin by saying that Judgment and I have been friends for a very long time, Taker. Heck, I knew her back when I was the High Prosecutor, so there is a lot of history there, and it can get a little messy. But if it's you, perhaps I can let you in on a few things. A backstory. If it'll help me understand Judgments more, I'm all ears. That's what I like to hear. Alright, strap down, Taker. You might want to take a seat. Okay, I'm sitting. I am spinning now. Help. Okay. Okay. First, let me start by saying that Judgment wasn't always the High Prosecutor that you know today. Before I chose her as my successor, she was known as the Nicest Demon. Seriously. Seriously. Well, that explains a few things. Go on. For a long time, she wore that title with pride, but then she took the position of High Prosecutor. Everything changed after that. Her old title became something of a hindrance for her. How could demons and sinners respect someone who was so well known for being nice? Hell isn't a terribly kind place to those who are nice. So, with my help, she did what she had to do. She killed the nice part of herself. In a way. Rather, I'm ashamed now to admit that this was primarily my idea. She surpassed her true nature in favor of a totally new persona, a facade that she wears whenever the situation demands that she must be the High Prosecutor of Hell. But, while at first Judgment was able to switch between these two images for herself, soon the High Prosecutor's side of her took over completely, and we never got to see that kind demon we know once surface again. I fear that maybe she's gotten so deep into this other personality of hers that she can no longer snap out of it. Perhaps she is afraid that nobody will accept her old self. Oh, I realize this. I mourned the friend I once knew and put forth effort to get to know the new Judgment instead. It's been an adjustment, to say the least. But if what you say is true, Taker, maybe that part of her is not dead after all. Maybe the kind demon is still lurking around in there somewhere. Maybe. Thank you for telling me all of this. There must be something I can do to help this situation. I truly hope there is, Taker, because if I'm being honest with you, there is a part of me that misses the friend I used to have somewhere close by. Introduction. Another introduction to Beelzebub? Is this the introduction to Beelzebub? Please say that, please, because I am pretty sad that I haven't seen her once. Idiots. Is it really hard to follow a simple rule? Do not engage. Are your minds so deranged that I have to write instructions down on your hands before I send you out for reconnaissance? In fairness, my queen, they went looking for us this time. Cut it, Mammon. Need I remind you it was your lack of control that attracted the Hellhound in the first place? If you hadn't succumbed to your baser impulses, our movement could have contributed unnoticed. Not my fault you lack proper leadership skills. Besides, if I recall correctly, we're the ones doing you a favor here, unless you've found an alternative solution to deal with your problem. That's enough of your insubordination. Even in my current state, I can still muster the strength to beat you to the ground 100 times over. If you're quite finished dressing us down, I'm going to head out. I have a shift starting in 20 minutes. Right, I'll be on my way as well. You won't wriggle out of this one, Mammon. We still have more to discuss. Oh, your disguise has been pierced. The Hellhound has your scent, and you are now far too much of a liability to send out on your own. She won't be any more trouble. She can't make a move on me unless she has justifiable cause to act. Yes, but unless you've forgotten, there are 8 more individuals in her household who are under no such restrictions. For the time being, your job as reconnaissance is at end. What? You can't bench me. Who's gonna do all the recon work if not for good old me, Mammon? Our resident busybody should suffice for observation. She's already proved to be several times more competent than you, Mammon. And unlike you, she's never clashed with them directly. Perhaps it's just in her nature to avoid physical engagement. Besides, I do still have a task for you, and one befitting your potential. Now that you've been sniffed out by the Hellhound, our enemy will know of our presence. I suspect action will be taken against us. It only seems fitting then that we pull out an ace in the hole for a preemptive strike. Does it not? You can't mean you're actually going to let her in on this? Thanks to your blunders, I can see another viable option. Can you? But you've known her longer than most. You've seen the sort of things she's done. Are you sure she won't turn her loose? We lose all pretense of subtlety, which is why you'll be responsible for managing her out in the field, for keeping collateral damage to an acceptable degree. You wanted to get your hands dirty, so this ought to be quite the reward for you, no? You want me to act as a damage control for... No, you don't understand. Have you seen the messes that Beale leaves behind? Oh yes. Oh yes. This is where we begin. More demon girls to join my harem. No way, no how I'm getting anywhere near that. So that's how it's going to be. You're just going to shirk away, abandon your duty just like you always have. I seem to recall a time when the 4 of us were poised to lose everything. But you know, memory is a funny thing, because I seem to recall only 3 of us fighting to keep what was ours. Belphegor might forget, and Abaddon might forgive your craven actions, but I shall do neither, Mammon, and you'll do well to remember it. So what's it to be? Will you do as you're told once in your miserable existence? Or am I going to force you to render your spineless as your actions thus far profess you to be? I'll take that as a yes. Now, all that remains then is to explain the situation to your new partner, Belphegor. I'll just call you Beelzebub. That's it. Wait, you're not Beelzebub. You're not Beelzebub. Present. What do you need, Sadie? You can't just pop out like that, Beelzebub, you were listening? Only in the beginning. Then I got kinda bored. Do you know that I am offering you an active role in this? Sadie, you must really be feeling that heat if you're considering letting me off the leash. Though it pains me to admit it, you have recovered far more of your former powers than the rest of us. The time has come to play them against our common enemy, Mammon. Hero has kindly volunteered to be your guide in this venture. No thanks, I don't really need weaklings to chaperone me. Besides, I already know where they live. I visited the house several times to people watch. Take her with you anyways. She might prove to be useful. doubtful, but I'll try my best to make her feel included, promise. And speaking of useless things, what am I to do with the battle that might get in our way? As long as that particular individual remains untouched, you may do as you will with the others. Yes? Oh, this is going to be so much fun. Come on, Fleabag. No need to look like a sourpuss. I know, we can get some cotton candy on the way. That'll cheer you up. Hey, let's go. Hey, ow, stop dragging. Satanas! Help me. And now our game begins in earnest. Your move, usurper. Is that the name of Lucifer? Hey, that rhymes. Probably. Hey guys, I just want to say thanks for playing our game. Thank you, the developer. Writing by Owen Nagler and Morgan Day. CJs and sprites were drawn by Dana Ora. Characters animations, void.exe. Programming was done. Most music used was created by Mitsees on YouTube, although some was taken from royalty-free sites. Sound effects were taken from YouTube Creator Library. The title screen art was created by... Wow. Helltaker House redesign was created by... Usage on Reddit. Various backgrounds were commissioned and created by Uyu Nokawa. Once again, thank you guys for playing the game, and be sure to leave us a feedback on how we did with this demo. Come on, man. Static. Damn. Okay. That was the end of the demo. I didn't know that was a demo. I thought that this was just an, a continuation of the story of Helltaker. Lucifer, I didn't know she had to literally beat 4 of the dudes that were the Lords of Hell. Okay, so that's 3 versus 4. They really had it rough to get to Lucifer's ambition of being the High Prosecutor of Hell and making things right, of course. Also, Justice. Not Justice. Judgement was the nicest demon of hell. I didn't even think of that. And I will rank the dates. So the top 1 is Justice. Azazel is top 2. Top 3 is Andemonica. And the rest are all even. No one above the other or below the other. So the only 3 that is the best for me are those 3. Okay. So this is the demo. Hopefully in the next segments of the game, the upper updates, hopefully we can get more lore. And I seem to be like every date is a cliffhanger, right? So hopefully you guys enjoyed the series of the demo, Second Circle. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe, comment down below, like the video. So yeah, that's the game. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you guys stay toasty, everybody.